While getting nostalgic looking through an old 2003 GW catalogue and debating what my next project would be, and what the hell was I going to do to showcase the Duncan Rhodes 2 Thin Coats paint set that was kindly sent over by Transatlantis Games? Well, I stumbled on something that inspired me. I had an idea, and this idea involved the Astra Militarum, or Imperial Guard to us veterans. And my muse, well, that was a pot of dried up Goblin Green paint and the old GW catalogue. So, what's the aim? Well, to build and paint a 2K force of Astra Militarum, but what's the catch? Well, I'm only going to be using the Duncan Rhodes 2 Thin Coats paints by Transatlantis Games to complete the project. The other catch is I have to paint all of these lovely new sculpts in the classic retro colour schemes, which will mean, unfortunately, having to mix my own Goblin Green paint for the bases. First off, I'm going to be using a Wyvern Green. Now this is a base coat for all the fatigues, so I'm just going to cover all those areas, and I'm going over a black primer. I'm using Colour Forge Matte Black, and I highly recommend this primer. Next up, I'm going to be using Barbarian Brawn. I'm going to use this to base coat all of the skin areas, so in this case it'll be the face and the hands. Next up, I'm going to use Cuirass Leather, and I'm going to use this for all of the belts and the straps and the pouches. Now I think it's important to note that there's a lot of detail on these miniatures, and throughout this process I actually do miss a few details, especially some of the strapping and things like that. That's not a problem, I just come back to those steps throughout this video, so if you miss any of these parts, feel free to go back and just paint them in the relevant colours. Now I'm just going to use some Sanguine Scarlet to base coat all of the gun casings. Next I'm going to use Cerakote's Silver, and this is what I'm going to use to paint anything I want metallic, so things like belt buckles and buttons and crests and things like that. I'm just going to give it a coat over this. Next I'm going to use Dust Bowl. I'm just going to use this to base coat any areas on the model like rolled up mats or blankets and that sort of thing. Next up I'm going to use some Doom Death Black. I'm just going to use this to paint anything I want black. So on these particular models it's going to be the boots, the knee pads, shoulder pads and the helmets, just to replicate that classic retro feel. So now it's time to shade the whole miniature, and to do this I'm going to use Oblivion Black Wash. I'm going to thin this down slightly with some water in a wet palette, and I'm just going to coat the whole miniature in this. It's also important to wait for this to dry completely before moving on to any other steps. Now to start with some highlighting, we're going to start with Emerald Green, and we're just going to paint this all over the fatigues, just avoiding a lot of the recesses that we've done, leaving that nice shade in all the wrinkles and creases. Next we're going to highlight the gun casing in a demon red. With this we're just going to concentrate more on edge highlighting, keeping those edges nice and crisp, but we are going to give most of the casing a decent layer of this, leaving the shades in all of the recesses. Now to highlight the skin, I'm going to start off with a dwarven skin. Unlike the other layering that I've been doing, this is a two-part highlight. This is the first of the two, but like with the other highlighting, just avoid the recesses, but give a good layer here and use two thin coats. Right, the final highlight for the skin is going to be elven skin, and I'm just going to apply this very thinly to things like the brow, the nose, knuckles, things like that are the highest points on the skin. Now I'm going to use some boar hide, and I'm going to use this to highlight all the leather areas. I'm going to be using this very thinly, and I'm going to be using it in a scratchy method to apply the texture of wear and tear to certain areas of it, and it's a lovely reddish brown, so it really lends itself to painting things that are meant to be leather. Next I'm going to use Sandstone, and this is to highlight the rolled up mats or bits of material, blankets, that are usually put on top of the backpacks. The same method is used here, just use it very thinly. You can use the scratchy method like we did with the leather to add some texture to these materials, but yeah, as long as we get a nice highlight on the higher raised areas. Now for those feeling brave enough, I'm going to take some white star, I'm going to thin it down and use the thinnest brush I can find, and I'm going to pinpoint the eyes, and I'm going to drop a little bit of this white paint in there. If it is a little bit messy though, all I do is go back, I grab some Doom Death Black and thin that down and just run it into the recess, and that should just outline the eye for you, and that'll cover up a lot of mistakes. So here I've tried to make my own Goblin Green for the bases, and what I've gone with is a Wyvern Green and an Ethereal Green, and I'm mixing them about 50-50 really. There's a little bit of experimentation going on, but yeah, if I mix those up I can get close to Goblin Green, with the Ethereal Green giving that yellow tint to the green colour. It's quite close, but it's not quite there. So what I might do is wait until wave 2 comes out, because I believe that there is a paint called Goblinoid Green, which is very, very close. So I'll wait till those paints are out and give that one a go before I do the whole army, I think. So there you have it, a completed retro guardsman, all painted with the Duncan Rhodes 2 Thin Coats paints. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and yeah, I could have put a few more steps in there with some highlights, but when I've got to paint maybe 100 of these guys, can you really blame me? I just want to say a massive thank you to Duncan Rhodes and to Transatlantis Games for sending me the paints to try out. Once I've tried them a bit more, I'll do a more comprehensive review of the range, but so far really impressed. If you want to support the channel, there are many ways you can do that. You can subscribe to us here on YouTube, you can subscribe or follow on Twitch, where we do regular live streams and hang out on hobbies and things like that. You can give us a follow on Instagram, or you can join our Discord. All the links will be in my link tree on Instagram, so if you go and check over there, all the information will be there for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, found it helpful, found it fun. Until next time, remember, stay safe and happy hobbying.